Here we are, the conclusion to getting every perk in Fallout 4, and this time we're going to Nuka World, the land of raiders and theme parks. With this being a level 30 plus DLC, I wonder how it would stack up to the 66 hours in Sanctuary and the 70 hours in Far Harbor. Our goals for this are to hit max level being 286 and get every base game perk. We'll have Gage as a follower to work with, so we'll have to please him and grab his companion perk as well. And there are 5 scav mags that also have perks associated with them. Sadly, we won't be able to get the raider perks this time around as that requires us to leave Nuka World, but we'll still have plenty of things to accomplish. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's find out how long it takes to get every perk in Fallout 4 without leaving Nuka World. As with all of our runs, it all begins by picking the most beautiful creature to ever escape from the glowing sea, and try to be normal as we wait to set our stats. To begin with, we'll leave strength at 1 for now, as carrying things into Nuka World doesn't require much space, especially since we're losing all of our starting gear anyway. A 6 in perception, which is 1 more than we need for Demolitions Expert. A 7 in endurance to at least try and take a hit, a 7 in charisma to make that speech check for the problem solver easy, and as well as to get better prices once we make it into the Nuka World market, a 1 in intelligence for Idiot Savant to proc, a 1 in agility to match my ability to run in real life, and a 5 in luck for your typical Idiot Savant survival build. Now came passing time before the end of the world, only to survive and be tricked into playing hide and seek in the freezer again. One of these days, Kellogg will actually catch me, but for now, White Preston and Sean will take the fall, allowing me to bust out and head on that family vacation we planned ages ago, all by myself. But when hearing of my vacation plans, the Rat Roaches and the Vault got jealous and decided if they couldn't go on that trip, then neither could I. Thankfully, another attempt proved them wrong, and with only a minor setback, the trek to the transit center could begin. The Nuka World Transit Center is located on the far left side of the map, just a small walk above Fort Hagen, and it's easy enough to get there without discovering any locations, meaning that all you really need to do to get things going is sneak into the station and board the tram. But with a small group of gunners guarding the entrance, this can be a bit easier said than done. That is, unless you jump along some invisible walls that Todd and his team love to use and jump onto the roof right above the train. Now you just have to jump down and run straight to the door. Once inside, flip on your Pip-Boy so enemies don't spawn through the door faster than you, and book it until you get behind the train. If you don't move, the enemies will eventually give up and you'll be left alone to head into Nuka World. Except whereas I just gave you the surefire way on how to pull off this stunt, I need to learn to practice what I preach. That's okay, it's just another Rad Roach situation. I'll definitely make it on my very next attempt. Right? Get some! After that slew of deaths, I finally got my act together. Hell, I even found a closer bed next to the Lonely Chapel that didn't discover the location. And I'm guessing this must have been the boost I needed because on the very next attempt, I managed to break into the tram station and ride that baby all the way to Nuka World. Time for the gauntlet. When you get to Nuka World on survival mode, and I'm pretty sure it does it on every other difficulty as well, the game auto-saves, so you at least have a fallback. However, there is a bed buried under the debris here that I usually forget about. I would use this just to be safe. And since we made it here, this gave us enough experience to level up and take Idiot Savant, which would give us a massive injection of experience, mainly by rushing through this room full of turrets and disarming every trap in the following room, netting us heaps of supplies and some gear for the inevitable Coulter fight. Continuing on, I arrived at the second bed and some food for my troubles, and while I felt more brave thanks to my save, my frost skills decided to rear their ugly head. For some reason I thought that would just be fine. I didn't actually see an issue with that. I actually thought genuinely that would be a fine decision. Thankfully, when the landmines explode and I don't load into another cell, they don't respawn, meaning I could head into the most important room of the gauntlet besides the Overboss Showdown. This grenade hallway. Besides each one of these giving a grenade and experience, I was able to level up again and take Demolitions Expert. With 1 dose of Jet and these grenades, I could easily take down Coulter just a few rooms ahead. That is if I can make it there. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. Oh, I didn't even think about this section. No! We were doing it! I'm dead. Damn it! How's the run going? Pretty fucking miserable, honestly. We're like an hour and a half in and still stuck in the stupid gauntlet. Don't touch. You stupid motherfucker! Oh my god, these stupid flying ants are gonna be the death of me! Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. Please. Alright, we're finally here. Only issue is, I didn't get lucky with drops in the room before Coulter, meaning I didn't have my jet. Not to worry, thanks to this bedroll placed right behind this door, the lack of magic inhalers could be skipped. But that doesn't mean this was going to be easy, not by a long shot. See, the goal was to tag Coulter with the Thirst Zapper and then use his animation to throw out as many grenades as possible. Only issue was that animation was very short and Coulter didn't feel inclined to give me a chance to win this fight, meaning a lot more deaths were inbound. Eventually I did figure out a reliable strat though. If I could just arc the Thirst Zapper, I could hit Coulter without moving into the room, and then it just became a matter of throwing grenades and hoping he would walk into them. However, even with 3 hits, this didn't kill. Thankfully, I had about 20 grenades going into this fight, so that just meant I had to play it safe and wait for Coulter to walk into the giant blobs of water, and then watch Coulter walk right over the top of another grenade, ending the fight. Before you yell at me in the comments, yes, I did loot everything he had, because look at me. I'm the overboss now. Walking over to Gage, I sweet-talked him into setting me free, and then punch-walked my way to a nearby bed to save because punch-walking is something I do in every single game at this point. Now comes the most pivotal moment of the run. Talking to the gang leaders and getting the problem solver. On my first attempt at this challenge, I was using the Western Revolver before the files got messed up, but trust me, it is so much easier to get 7.62 ammo than it is to get 44 here. So after organizing my junk and dropping things off, I made my way over to the market and borrowed some great mentats that Maddox just keeps behind the counter. Next, I made my way over to Mason with a 13 charisma and began dialogue. I meticulously chose the aggressive options to make the last speech check a breeze, as each aggressive option lowers the check a small amount. And when it came time to get the gun and pass the last speech check, I immediately fumbled the fucking option.
Here you've been talking to the other gangs.
No!
Ain't no two things in this world that's truly equal, boss. Everything.
Oh, dude, I fucking misclicked. Oh my god. Have I mentioned this is a one-off chance? If you look closely, you can almost see him cry a bit. Thankfully, this is not a run ender, and after an hour, it won't even matter. Now, in case you're a little lacking in the charisma department, or you just decided to fumble the dialogue with Mason for content, yeah, sure, let's go with that. You can actually get a better version of the problem solver for virtually nothing. Let me explain. With your new title as the Overboss, you can gain some bonuses with your promotion, mainly in the form of free goodies. So free, in fact, that you can walk all around Nuka Street, USA, and just take everything not nailed down. And whereas your legs may start to give out like you've just celebrated your 30th birthday, just remember that your metalcore days were not just a phase, and thrashing like you're covered in bees will put that kick back into your step. Once you've filled your pockets with everything that your unpaid interns work so hard for, now it's time to head back to the market and sell it all to get exactly one gun. But make sure to dress up for the occasion by putting on a nice suit, some fancy glasses, and even a hairpiece, all before taking some great mentats and drinking for the occasion. This combined with the first rank of Cap Collector should allow you to practically clear out Aaron here of all of his 7.62 ammo and his prized possession, the Splatter Cannon. This weapon is just like the Problem Solver in the sense that they both share the Furious legendary effect, but where the Splatter Cannon shines is its massive damage. Right out of the box, this gun has the highest damage modification it could possibly have, and did an automatic variant to boot, meaning for all of those poor creatures we're about to use to level up, they won't even know what hit them. With my gun in hand and Gage following behind, we headed to the local Mirelurk hunting grounds, the World of Refreshment, a park that shows you the story of how Nuka-Cola was founded and how everyone here got crabs. Using the splatter cannon here, we made quick work of any Mirelurk silly enough to be minding its own business. And with the added suppressor that comes stock with this gun, it saved me from an ambush of orphans, meaning I could focus down their crustacean parents with little worry about getting my back blown out. Trust me, if they wanted me that bad, they could just get me from the front. After a few more deaths, I decided trying to take on high-level enemies wearing napkins and tissues just wasn't gonna cut it. Luckily, there's a random encounter location not too far from here. I'll talk more about this spot later on, but for now it was going to act as our new supply drop. Once the pack had killed the settlers here, I grabbed some new threads and headed back to get my cannon wet. With Nuka-Cola, come on, don't think like that! Except like with most Fallout 4 runs, I got distracted and then caught a laser beam instead. Alright, random encounter, get new drip, then get moist. And the new armor may have looked cool, but it wasn't really necessary. I just had to land my shots and take my time. Or get insanely lucky, like when dealing with these Assaultrons. Come back, Gage. Come back, Gage. Come back, Gage. Come back, Gage. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Okay, my jet didn't want to go off. That's cool. Okay. Not exactly the smoothest by any means, but I mean, we're still cooking. We're still alive. My jet did not go off at all. But that's okay, I guess. I swear that felt like more than usual. With a quick nap downstairs, I headed topside. Gage and I were late for the crab boil, so naturally, it was time for crab. Every Mirelurk in the area was given their lifetime supply of 7.62 ammo, and the queen folded faster than someone going all in before the river was revealed. With the park now under raider control, I made sure to put it into good hands, being the pack. Look, I know the pack usually gets the short end of the stick, but this time letting a gang take over the park doesn't really matter. So on the basis that their guns are the prettiest, they can have a win here. With one park down, that meant it was time for another, and I can already see the canyons, hear the yee-haws, and feel the bloodworm swimming in my stomach. It was time for Dry Rock Gulch. Although being level 10 means that at any time, if a bloodworm were to rise up and tickle my ankles, I would die of fright, meaning this entire park was like walking through a minefield where the landmines could follow after you, except the bloodworms here weren't even the worst part. Gage here hates chem use, which makes him the worst companion in the game in my opinion. But I'm not about to let some long-legged pissed off chirpy boy tear me a new one. To hell with your opinion, Gage, I'm using Jet. Surprisingly, besides the killer worms and cave crickets, Dry Rock Gulch was by far the most straightforward. So far. All I had to do was run around and satisfy 3 different robots' needs, getting the code to access Mad Mulligan's mine, and then clear out the remaining bloodworms. Another park given to the pack, and more experience for me. A fine transaction. Next up is Gator Claw Central, the Safari Zone. And if you thought the bloodworms were bad, just wait until you see these bastards. If kept at range, they pose virtually no threat, especially between Gage and Cedo here acting as distractions, at least most of the time. However, in the face of generic abominations, our trio of merry misfits culled the park, broke into a super secret lab of doom, and then went on a field trip to wipe out the remaining accidents. I will say, for being only level 13, this park wasn't anything to complain about. I mean, hell, we were having such a good time that we even managed to sneak a show between a Yao Guai and a Gator Claw. Too bad the after show wasn't anything worthwhile. With only 2 Gator Claws left, I decided to conserve my ammo and try to let my meat shields do some of the heavy lifting, only to learn that this was a mistake. So here I was, running laps while Cedo failed to do anything, and due to not having saved in a bit, this meant I was 1 failed corner turn away from dying to a bipedal scale coat and waiting. But against the odds, my companions figured out which button gave out ouchies and took down the Gator Claw. Now all I had to do was kill off 1 more specimen trapped in a cage, and then give the park to the only gang that made sense. The Disciples. No, of course not, it went to the pack. With 3 parks down, it was time to stop back off in Nuka World to gear up for Kitty Kingdom. But before heading out, Gage and I needed to be honest with each other. We both knew how this was going to end. At the end of the park takeovers, I would be asked to head to the Commonwealth, and since I couldn't leave due to challenge restrictions, Gage here was on a time limit. In telling him this, he revealed that his eye patch was more for fashion than necessity. Gage just wanted to fit in, and since he didn't like Chemuse and had a dumb looking face, the eye patch allowed him to fit in and even win the favor of the overboss, becoming the right-hand man, and now my right-hand man. We have another park to liberate, Gage. Don't lose focus now. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, time for the Hidden Cappy quest. The main reason for doing this quest is the dope-ass shade Sierra gives you. The second reason is allegedly there's a safe connected to a terminal in the final room of this quest. And since Gage here loves it when you pick locks, the goal would be to get in there in order to finish off his affinity and gain his companion perk, which gives you an experience gain for kills. So now here I was walking through my claimed parks looking for hidden cappies and getting stuck. Wait, getting stuck? Oh. Oh, come on, I'm like in the fucking ground, come on. Yeah, there's like an invisible... Yes! 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 Alright, no more messing around. It was time for Kitty Kingdom, and this place was a mess. Sure, the ghouls are easy to kill, but so am I. I mean, I'm level 18 here, and each of these radiation-riddled crack fiends are, yep, you guessed it, one-shot kills. Combine this with the leaping attack they do, and this area is full of jump scares. Alright, cool. Not too bad. Not too bad. I've never used any ghoul overhaul mods. The standard ghouls are pretty terrifying. What the fuck just happened? Yeah, we're gonna be here for a bit. The ghouls in the kingdom may be scary, but you wanna know what's worse? Frost PTSD. For some reason, I just freeze when I see landmine notifications now. But after finally overcoming my fears of taking explosions, the rest of the funhouse is one of those adventures where there is no safety until the end. Meaning, if I die, I've got to do this whole thing over again. So if the footage seems a bit slow, it's because I was terrified of ghouls just bursting through doorways. Can you really blame me? Thankfully, there isn't too much left of this funhouse before I'm able to head out. Gage and I made it over to the sewers next, and here he confesses his feelings for us, because we didn't make fun of him as much as Coulter did. I mean, I guess Gage isn't that bad. I mean, he is able to keep me alive longer than most of the other companions. Like, I think we're just losing... Oh, really? The second one went off too? Yeah, about that. Moving into the last section, it was time for Oswald to take the stage and summon his friends to get killed for his amusement. But what Oswald didn't account for was a loot goblin harnessing one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and nerves absolutely shot after having to dodge more lanky Mountain Dew guzzlers than a Halo 2 LAN party. This is a really long way of saying those poor ghouls didn't stand a chance. But where Oswald sent his friends in to die, he would get the last laugh as I had to take the fight to him up above. And sure, I could deal with a few ghouls, but combine Salad Fingers cosplayers with a small room harboring me with the endurance of a beach jellyfish, and you can kinda get the idea of how this fight went. So, call me surprised when I managed to talk my way out of this fight with pretty much every negative you could on a survival run. Look, I'm not complaining. Plus, I even got a super sweet hat out of the deal. And with that, another park was secured for the pack. Before leaving here, I started to search for a hidden Cappy, and while getting lost following cryptic clues and misinformation from chat, I stumbled upon a room with a save point and the holiest of holy grails. A terminal attached to a safe. Oh yeah, this is happening. Gage looked on with some kind of weird pleasure as I fondled the locks over and over again. He liked it so much that he confessed his deepest love for me and gave me his companion perk. But to make things official, I took him back home to seal the deal. Oh yeah, your friends are as good as dead now. Now came the great raider extermination of Nuka World, beginning with the pack. Look, I gave them 4 parks while I rizzed up Gage, and now that I had his perk, the pack's colorful guns weren't gonna save these furry pants having weirdos from getting put down. Or that's what I would have liked to say, except the pack actually put up one hell of a fight and reminded me that while they may look goofy, they're still level 30 raiders with big ass guns. So instead, let's visit the people who just couldn't be kicked out of Hot Topic, the Disciples. Look, your shiny stabby bits might give me some new diary material, but there's not enough of you to give me a lifetime of therapy, so without too many conniptions, I was finally able to turn off that never-ending Hawthorne Heights playlist. But whereas we ended one sad angsty playlist, another would take its place. Making my way out of Fist Top Grill, disaster struck. But I knew it was coming. And hell, I've alluded to it multiple times now. But still, seeing Porter Gage fight back against the Raider slaying just meant that I got to use chems in his face while his homies died all around him. It sucks, but it serves you right for hating on magic inhalers, you loser. Now you're dead. With Gage now somebody that I used to know, I had to keep my eyes wide open as I took the easy way out and killed Raider after Raider. With enough hiding spots and a ton of free beds just lying around, a combination of jet and erratic nerves were all it took to progress through Nuka Street, USA, and don the old tattered buildings in new shades of red. While the Raiders outside may have been dead weight, it was time to take on the Operators. And my god, were these guys waiting for me. Sure, I could kick in the door, jet up, and show off the amount of damage my cannon could do, but now the entire room was engulfed in flames and brain matter was being sprayed all over the walls. If you're having trouble taking out the Operators, just remember that they can't handle you standing behind a pillar, meaning with a couple more inhalers, the leaders are taken out and now we can move through the pack. Look, it began with you and it's gonna end with you. Make sure to say hi to Old Yeller for me. With the Raiders dealt with, it was time to head to the power station, which was actually pretty easy, believe it or not. Considering the whole place is covered in ghouls, I would have thought that it would be a little bit more chaotic, but taking it slow and having a suppressor meant I had a free run to the station and could flip the power back on. Now, where this is usually the part where most people leave Nuka World, this only marked the second phase of the run, the Great Gunner Hotel. At 11 hours and 10 minutes, we had just hit level 29, but before heading out to enact the greatest monstrosity Nuka World had ever seen, I stocked up on some crafting supplies and then headed out to the Red Rocket Garage, the only settlement in the entire DLC. I spent some time scrapping everything and double checked on our cage situation, and yes, gunner cages are legal here. I was debating on doing something similar to Far Harbor where we used multiple different cages that all fueled each other, but gunner cages not only require far less resources to make and maintain, but they also award nearly 3 times more experience than Deathclaws and Yao Guai. That's not even taking into consideration that the gunner cages are medium and take up far less space, meaning you could put twice as many in there. It's honestly a no-brainer. I also made a settlement recruitment beacon to lure in unsuspecting victims into a lifetime of servitude. This would cut back on the restocking of supplies as now I didn't need to run back and forth to the market in Nuka World. However, for as much as I just talked up the gunners, they are nothing to scoff at. For example, this one gunner would have killed us if I was even one shot off. And this is only the first of the cages. But the show must go on, and the experience needs to keep rolling. So every chance I got, I emptied the cages, sold off all my ill-gotten goods, and then built up more cages. It's all coming together now. As the bodies piled and the cages became built, my ammo would usually run low, and since none of the stores I could create carried 7.62 ammo, I had to run all the way back into town to resupply. A little while later, and hitting level 34, I had 10 cages built. And once they were filled, I drank enough water to drown a whale, and then built some shelves to kick off the ×3 experience gain from kills thanks to rank 3 of Idiot Savant. And just watch as that sweet experience rolls in. But yeah, they still hurt a lot. And with this only being 10 gunners, I'd have to hang out here for a while to get stronger, but this little gunner paradise is perfect for some decent experience gain for the time being. So much so that questing became pointless. I mean, that was 2 whole levels in about 2 minutes. How can you beat that? While pondering that question, I got raided by some gunners coming to break their homies out of jail, only to join their future homies in the sky. And with the revelation that I had more gunners wanting to visit my settlement than I had cages to house them, that meant it was time to build more accommodations. What was once 10 cages now became 20. Yes, the experience continues to roll. But once the cages empty out, it's time to loot and sell everything we have in order to buy shipments of copper, wood, and steel. This will keep the cages fixed in between evictions, and then I sleep for 2 whole days to repeat the buying process. After 6 days of sleeping and 3 shopping trips, the cages are ready for another round. After playing around with 20 cages for a while, I upgraded the cages from 20 to 50. We're heading to the moon with this experience gain. But it's not good enough. As we level, the experience is going to dry up, which means to stay on curve, we're going to need to add another layer to our gunner hotel. 75 cages should be a good amount. At level 126, we were sitting pretty. The screen was practically covered in pieces of gunners. But whereas explosions and laser blasts were flying around, every time I leveled, I regained all my health. Meaning I could literally just walk forward and hold the trigger down, making this farm the scariest thing ever if you found yourself stuck in a gunner trap. But it could be worse. You could live in Florida. At 147, it was all the same as before, and watching that number climb is one of the best sights this game can offer. Not too much longer now. I mean, just look at this! After watching that beautiful sight, I got raided by raiders. It's not that they were hard, no, that's not why I'm pointing them out. I'm just surprised that a small group of power armor wearing raiders thought they could take on someone who has definitely put the gunners on the endangered enemies list. And there you have it. 286 with a few extra levels to boot. Sure, nothing wacky happened with this farm like in my other 2 attempts, but considering this settlement only took 26-ish hours to pull off, I never even gave it time to do anything that would compromise the save, especially since I saved cap explosions until the end. So with a combined time of 37 hours and 45 minutes, the only thing left to do was grab all the scav mags and get the hell out of here. I can almost taste freedom. And here comes the victory lap of Nuka World, the Scav Mags. And first up we have Kitty Kingdom. With the power turned back on, I decided to enjoy myself by riding the Ferris wheel, and then got wobbly as I made my way through the funhouse to grab the first magazine. Next came Dry Rock Gulch, and while I had to do some fancy legwork to get in, the employees were more than happy to show me the door, but I wasn't leaving without their policy handbook. 2 down and 3 to go. With the next one being in the Galactic Zone, what used to be a death sentence as each of these laser beams were 1-shots, turned into me playing more sloppily than normal and turning each robot into nothing more than a pile of junk. Ah, how the tables have tabled. With the Galactic Zone sorted, I wandered over to the junkyard. Sure, our Scav Mag was here, but for old time's sake, I made a slight detour. With the Scav Mag recovered from the top floor, now all that was left was the smash and grab at the Grandchester Mystery Mansion. I tried to buy a ticket but got interrupted. Thankfully, since I was an employee, I got free access outside of working hours. I wish I could say more about the mansion, but besides some throwaway robots and some poor gunner that was trapped upstairs, the only thing haunting about this location was the waiting times for the next room to open. And with Nuka World officially done, the only thing left to do was head home. I traveled to the Fizztop Grill to say my last goodbyes and stumbled across Gage's contorted body. It felt wrong to leave him here, so I carried him to what was once my bed. That way he could sleep peacefully. I also decided to take a nap to save, just in case something weird happened. But while I slept, my character decided to take weird to the next level.
What did you do to that man?
Oh no! Because I dragged his body back to the bed and slept in it, it gave me this. You know what that insinuates? Oh my god! That would explain why he jumped in shit. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Fucking Jesus Christ. I can't go back here ever again. It's over. It's over. Well, I guess I can't ever show my face here again. And there you have it. Max level in all 3 playing zones. A massive endeavor, but someone had to do it eventually. Here are our final stats at just under 39 hours. Nuka World takes the cake as the quickest area to do this challenge in. It took us just under 2 years of game time, and whereas we had to kill quite a few raiders, we still killed at least over 4,500 gunners to pull this off. Definitely making them think twice about heading out on any company building exercises in the area. But before we go today, I want to let you know that I'll be taking a break from Fallout and trying out some other games in the meantime. So if you have a suggestion for a video, let me know in the comments below. I also want to give a massive shout out to the patrons over on Patreon and to the channel members. You guys gave the lights on over here at Crisis HQ, and I cannot thank you enough for that. I want to thank you, the viewer, for watching this video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. As always, I've been Chris from Crisis Gaming, and I'll see you on the next one.